arts, he sort of awakened the beast with those comments.
Israel Adesanya was talking about Alex Poatan Pereira.
His fucking highlight reel is like nobody else's. Completely unique style, very technical, and very well thought out.
And in that interview, he told 2 lies and 1 truth. The first lie was that Alex Pereira beat him 1 time. You've got to understand, Alex Pereira is one of the most decorated kickboxers in history.
It's not just dangerous power. He's fucking sneaky. He's really technical and creative when he's hitting people.
Pereira kicked off his career in 2012, and over the next 4 years, he decimated the competition and collected championships in multiple organizations.
He was beating up everybody over there, dude. And it was the way he was doing it. He was putting them into orbit. Like, the power was different. The style was different. It's a weird style. Hands down, weird movement, but super technical, man. I was like, this fucking guy's terrifying.
It wasn't long before he had his first meeting with Israel Adesanya on his home soil in China.
I am Chinese.
It was a tightly contested battle where Alex Pereira earned a decision victory to snap Israel Adesanya's 4-team fight win streak. Adesanya was none too pleased by the decision, and many fans argue Adesanya was robbed of his victory by the judges.
There was a bit of controversy. Fight one. Many people thought Izzy won that fight.
So naturally, both of these fighters met the following year, but if you were looking for a truly satisfying conclusion, you might have been disappointed. Israel Adesanya was winning the fight, and more notably, had Pereira very badly hurt in the second round. I mean, it was a beating. But the referee stepped in and gave Pereira a standing 8 count, which gave Pereira just enough time to recover and deliver his signature left hook in the 3rd round to knock out Adesanya.
In fight 2, Izzy was fighting well again. He had hurt Pereira in the 2nd round, and then he got knocked out.
You might say that a knockout like this should be definitive in squashing this rivalry, but far too many questions surrounded both of these bouts.
Yo, but in the fight where he knocks out Izzy, Izzy was fucking his dude up, and they should have stopped the fight. Izzy was fucking that guy up to the point where he's just in the corner covering up. I'm shocked they didn't stop the fight.
You could have maybe stopped the fight, but if he goes on to knock Izzy out, maybe the argument is that you got to let guys fight.
It bothered Israel Adesanya to the point that he was mentioning Pereira years later as champion of the UFC.
At the end of the day, no one knows who the f he is.
And while I clarified the first lie Izzy told in this interview, the unfortunate truth of Pereira sitting in a pub cuts very deep.
Na época aí que eu tava, já perdidão mesmo, eu bebia quase 1 litro por dia, entendeu?
Você tá louco, velho.
While Israel Adesanya rose to stardom in the UFC, Alex Pereira was still recovering from his alcoholism in his early career.
Até meio-dia eu tomava 3 cachaças.
Era
uma às 10, uma 11 e outra meio-dia, né?
Até os horários.
You see, Pereira had a hard life. He grew up very poor in a favela and dropped out of middle school to be a bricklayer's assistant and later a tire shop worker. He was in a dead-end job surrounded by people who paid him in the form of alcohol and became an alcoholic over time.
Então, na borracharia, você faz o trampo ali, o cara fica contente, você faz um trampo legal.
Pum, cara.
Eu deixei uma paga lá pra você, entendeu? Aí,
apaga.
Deixar uma paga lá pra você aí.
And it was a shame because it was around this time that Pereira showed a lot of early promise as a kickboxer.
E todas as lutas que eu ganhei, tudo no primeiro round. Então foi menos de 2 minutos. Todas? É. Por nocaute, tudo no primeiro round.
But according to his trainer, Pereira's love of booze prevented him from training for long, his body didn't hold up, and he wasn't mentally clear in his bouts. However, his trainer Beloca Vera knew that Pereira had to trade one set of spirits for another. You've likely seen Alex Pereira in indigenous attire before his bouts, but you probably don't realize that it was his coach who opened him up to his ancestry. Connecting to his indigenous roots gave Pereira a revival of his mind and spirit, enough for him to realize he didn't need alcohol as his crutch any longer. Pereira became Poatan, an indigenous word that means hands as hard as rocks, or stone hands.
It was shocking. He would hit guys, boom, and they were just like stiffen up and flatline. You're like,
with 10-ounce glove.
Fuck, man, he's doing it to everybody. Like, literally everybody he's connecting on is going night-night.
This new and improved Pereira steamrolled through the competition in glory, becoming not only the Glory Middleweight Champion, but also the Glory Light Heavyweight Champion.
He just came into his own, like fighters do. They come into their own, and then they reach this point where they're a champion now.
Yeah.
And he does it in 2 different weight classes simultaneously. He owns 2 weight classes in glory.
A simultaneous 2-division glory champion was historical. It had never been done before.
And if Pereira has takedown defense and he winds up making his way to the UFC, there's a lot of good fights for him.
Yeah.
In the UFC, in 185, and in 205.
What incredible foresight by Joe Rogan. Pereira had already etched his name in kickboxing history, so why not explore new horizons?
Like Todd say, I'm moving on to MMA. I signed with the UFC. I'll be fighting on Madison Square Garden in New York City on November 6th. I hope I got all you guys' support.
When that guy was going to fight MMA, I'm like, hold on, baby.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be some wild shit.
Hey, he
This
was
is an
3-1.
extraordinary dude.
That's right, Alex Pereira had done it all in kickboxing and was highly motivated to come to the UFC because of Israel Adesanya's comments.
Having somebody tell you, you know, that you were going to be in a bar and stuff, knowing that he's had struggles like that in his past, I'd be pissed off too.
By the time Alex made the full-time move to MMA, Israel Adesanya had already won 5 world title fights at middleweight, and even tried his hand at becoming champ at light heavyweight, but was unsuccessful against Jan Blachowicz. On the other hand, Alex Pereira was practically a baby in the sport of MMA, barely dipping his toe into the sport while he built his kickboxing legacy. In his first MMA fight in 2015, he was predictably submitted via rear naked choke. And I say predictably because he was a striker. Grappling was a completely foreign art for Poatan, which is why in his next 3 fights, he scored 3 knockouts, 2 of which were in the first round. I mean, imagine being those fucking guys, thinking you got some scrub with a losing MMA record, not knowing he's about to hand deliver you some potent CTE. Keep in mind, a 3-1 MMA record is not usually grounds for a UFC signing, but a 33-7 kickboxing record, 21 knockouts, and 2 victories over the biggest active star in the UFC was enough to get the UFC's attention.
The second he signed on to the UFC, the conversation of who's the best striker in the UFC had another element.
That's 100% the case, but when you clicked on this video, the conversation on the biggest injury firm also had another element. That's right, when you get hurt, you deserve to have the best on your side. Your serious injury could be worth millions, and insurance companies often lowball clients' claims. But Morgan & Morgan will fight to get you the money you deserve. In just the past couple of months, Morgan & Morgan saw verdicts of $6.8 million, $12 million, and even $26 million big paid Lincoln.
Alex Pereira, and he's truly one of the most terrifying human beings alive.
Bad motherfucker.
Oh, he hits people, and it doesn't even make sense.
Really?
It's like it doesn't. He's the same size as these people.
Yeah.
But he hits them. It's like he's a heavyweight and they're a lightweight. I'm telling you, he's got fucking freaky power.
And he was 3-1 when he made his debut in Madison Square Garden, and you knew that if he was able to win a couple, they would rush him to Izzy.
With all the hype behind Alex Pereira's UFC debut, Poatan needed to deliver. Andreas Michailidis came in with a great game plan to smother and out-grapple Pereira. He even exposed his back, but to the surprise of many, Pereira was able to weather the storm, get back to his feet, and return to his corner. What's interesting is that Adesanya was watching Pereira's debut and gave his perpetual rival some advice through the screen.
Because he knows he's going to shoot well-timed knee, just straight up.
And I guess you can say, great minds think alike.
All the clinch and the grab. Oh, my goodness.
Alex Pereira! That's what I'm talking about.
How good is that?
Wow. That's what I'm telling you. It's a different kind of power. You can't stand in front of that man.
Did you see that?
That dude's made out of mahogany. Alex, we have been looking forward to you competing in the UFC for a long time. Congratulations on a spectacular debut.
Thank you.
I thought you were lying, bro. I thought you were lying. The whole time, Joe, I'm sitting to your right. I'm like, man, Joe Rogan up in here lying to me, telling me this dude this good.
A lot of people saying he might have the path to Adesanya after their kickboxing background. What were just your general thoughts?
He looked damn good tonight. Got the guy where he needed him, and incredible flying knee.
What's the career path now, right? A lot of excitement around you. Obviously, the link to Adesanya is always going to be there. Do you want a fast run to the title, or do you want to like take your time and develop more as a mixed martial artist?
Well, I came here, of course, to be a champ, but I'm almost taking my time evolving, getting better every day. I'm 34 years old, but I'm happy to be every day getting better and better.
Pereira made quite the impact in just his first UFC fight, but like he said, he was 34 years old, so whatever he wanted to accomplish in this sport needed to be done in a very short window. And with a performance like that, all eyes were on him.
Alex Pereira, of course, former kickboxing world champion, the guy who beat Israel Adesanya twice.
See what Robert Whittaker said about it?
Did you see the size of the fella? Like, why is nobody mentioning that? Dude's just giant.
I did.
He's a freaking giant.
This guy had to be getting up to 215 whenever he was making 85.
I think it was heavier. His hands are as big as a fucking watermelon. One of the fights I said it was 226, I believe.
226 in the octagon at 185.
His fist is like literally both mine put together.
Facial features are bigger. His feet and hands and forearms are massive.
He's like this long arms, these big giant fucking hammers at the end of his wrists. He's different.
Who let this guy in?
Pereira was like this mythical creature we couldn't believe was in our sport, and all we could do was speculate how this second fight was gonna go.
It's been the Alex Pereira show all week in terms of how people view this fight. Like, people think just Bruno's the next victim for this guy.
Bruno Silva is an incredibly violent
Hello. Hello. I'll check that. Starting
Oh, that sounds like a cool name.
Hello,
And I'm going to press enter.
audio.
It's going to make this environment for us.
Okay.
Great. Installed. Good. So we can go and run our notebook again, and we'll see if this changes. So we can go ahead and pop into our bigram again. Kernel, change kernel, boom. CUDA GPT. Let's click that. Environment for us. Great. Installed. 4. So that's the name of the virtual environment. And then the display name, how it's actually going to look in the terminal, is going to be display name. We'll just call it CUDA GPT. I don't know. That sounds like a cool name. And then we'll go and press enter. It's going to make this environment for us. Great. Installed. Good. I don't know. CUDA GPT. I don't know. That sounds like a cool name. And then we'll go and press enter. It's going to make this environment for us. Great. Installed. Good. So we can go ahead and run our notebook again, and we'll see if this changes.
अब शायद आनी चाहिए. Yes. अब आ रही है. Fuck this shit. Hmm. 25 minutes पे कर लूँगा शॉर्ट बॉक्सिंग. Jupiter. Damn. Okay. Video कौन गया वो? What? Revenge.
CUDA GPT. I don't know. That sounds like a cool name. And then we'll go and press enter. It's going to make this environment for us. Great. Installed. Good. So we can go and run our notebook again, and we'll see if this changes. So we can go ahead and pop into our bigram again. Kernel, change kernel, boom, CUDA GPT. Let's click that. Sweet. So now we can actually see GPT. Let's bigram again. Kernel, change kernel, boom, CUDA GPT. Let's click that. Sweet. So now we can actually start doing more and just sort of experimenting with how the notebooks work and actually how we can build up this bigram model and sort of learning how language models work from scratch. So let's go ahead and do that. So before we jump into this actual code here, what I want to do is delete all of these. Good. So now what I'm going to do is just get a small little data set, just very small for us to work with, that we can sort of try to make a bigram out of, something very small. So what we can do is go to this website called Project Gutenberg, and they basically just have a bunch of free books that are licensed under Creative Commons. So we can use all of these for free. So let's use The Wizard of Oz. At the end, The Wizard of Oz, great. So what we're going to want to do is just click on plain text here. Great. So now we can go Control S to save this, and then we could just go Wizard of Oz. Wizard underscore of underscore Oz. Good. So now what I'm going to do is we should probably drag this into our folder here. So I'm just gonna.
What do you want to do? Elon. Space. No. Let's do stocks.
I'm just gonna drag this into this here. Wait, Oz. At the end of Wizard of Oz. Great. So what we're gonna want to do is just click on plain text here. Here. Great. So now I can go Control S to save this, and then we could just go Wizard of Oz. Wizard _ of Oz. Good. So now what I'm going to do is we should probably drag this into. We should drag this into our folder here. So I'm just going to pop that into there. Good stuff. Did that work? Sweet. So now we have our Wizard of Oz text in here. We can open that. What we can do is start. Start of this book. Okay, so we can go ahead and we go down to when it starts. So maybe we'll just cut it here. That'd be a good place to start. Just like that. And then put a few spaces. Good. So now we have this book. Go to the bottom here just to get rid of some of this other licensing stuff, which might get in the way with our predictions in the context of the entire book. So let's just go down to when that starts. End of the book. Okay. Okay, so we've gotten all that. That is done. Get rid of the illustration there. Perfect.
I can make my own text away. Ooh. بچه پراغنیه دیگه اوبیسه هلو بچه پراغنیه دیگه اوبیسه هلو بچه پراغنیه دیگه اوبیسه What's good, what's good, what's good?
So now we have this Wizard of Oz text that we can work with. Let's close that up. 233 kilobytes. Awesome. Very small size. We can work with this. This is great. So we have this Wizard of Oz.txt file, and what are we going to do with that? Well, we're going to try to train a transformer, or at least a bigram language model on this text. So in order to do that, we need to sort of learn how to manage this text file, how to open it, etc. So we're going to go ahead and open this. I'm going to do Wizard. Wizard of Oz like that, and we're going to open it in read mode, and then we're going to use the encoding UTF-8 just like that. So this is the file mode that you're going to open in. There's read mode, there's write mode, there's read binary, there's write binary, and those are really the only ones we're going to be worrying about for this video. The other ones you can look into in your spare time if you'd like to, but we're just going to be using those for now. And then the encoding is just what type of character encoding are we using. That's pretty much it. And we can just open this as f, short for file. We're going to go text equals f.read. Just going to read this file stored in a string variable, and then we can, we can print some stuff about it. So we can go print the length of this text. Run that. We get the length of the text. We could print the first 200 characters of the text. Sure. So we get the first 200 characters. Great. So now we know how to, just play with characters. At least just see what the characters actually look like. So now we can do a little bit more from this point, which is going to be encoders. And before we get into that, what I'm going to do is put these into a little vocabulary list that we can work with. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to say, we're going to make a chars variable. So the chars is going to be all the chars, or all the characters in this text piece. So we're going to make a sorted set
Hell yeah.
of text. So we're going to make a sorted set
Hell yeah.
of text. So we're going to make text here, and we're going to just print out chars. So look at that. We have print out chars. So look at that. We have a giant array of all these characters. So now what we can do is we can use something called a tokenizer, and a tokenizer consists of an encoder and a decoder. What an encoder does is it's actually going to convert each character, or sorry, each element of this array to an integer. So maybe this would be a 0. This would be a 1, right? So a new line or an enter would be a 0, a space would be a 1, an exclamation mark would be a 2, etc. Right, all the way to the length of them. And then what we could do is we could even print the length of these characters, so we can see how many there actually are. So there's 81 characters in the entire Wizard of Oz book. So I've written some code here that is going to do that job for us, the job of tokenizers. So what we do is we just use little some generator for loops here, generative for loops rather, and in the entire Wizard of Oz book. So I've written some code here that is going to do that job for us, the job of tokenizers. So what we do is we just use some generator for loops here, generative for loops rather, and we make a little mapping from strings to integers and integers to strings given the vocabulary. So we just enumerate through each of these. We have first element assigned to a 1, second assigned to a 2, etc. Right? That's basically all we're doing here. And we have an encoder and a decoder. So let's say we wanted to convert the string hello to integers. So we go encode, and we could do hello, just like that. And then we could go ahead and print this out. Perfect. Let's go ahead and run that. Boom. So now we have a conversion from characters to integers. And then if we wanted to maybe convert this back, so decode it, we could store this in a little, maybe decoded hello equals that. And then we could go, or encoded rather, encoded hello. And then we could go decoded hello is equal to, we go decode, and we can use the encoded hello. So we're going to go ahead and encode this, into integers, and then we're going to decode the integers back to a character format. So let's go ahead and print that out. We're going to go ahead and print the decoded hello. Perfect. So now we get that. So I'm going to fill you in on a little background information about these tokenizers. So right now we're using the character level tokenizer, which takes basically each character and converts it to an integer equivalent. So we have a very small vocabulary and a very large amount of tokens to convert. So if we have 40,000 individual characters, it means we have a small vocabulary to work with, but a lot of characters to encode and decode, right? If we work with maybe a word level tokenizer, that means we have a ton, like every single word in the English language. I mean, if you're working with multiple languages, this could be like, a lot, very large amount of tokens. So you're gonna have like maybe millions or billions or trillions if you're doing something weird. But in that case, you're gonna have a way smaller set to work with. So you're gonna have a very large vocabulary, but a very small amount to encode and decode. So if you have a subword tokenizer, that means you're going to be somewhere in between a character level and a word level tokenizer, if that makes sense. So in the context of language models, it's really important that we're efficient with our data, and just having a giant string might not work the best. And we're going to be using a machine learning framework called PyTorch or Torch. So I've imported this right here, and pretty much what this is going to do is it's going to handle a lot of the math, a lot of the calculus for us, as well as a lot of the linear algebra, which involves a type of data structure called tensors. So tensors are pretty much matrices. If you're not familiar with those, that's fine. We'll go over them more in the course. But pretty much what we're going to do is we're going to just put everything inside of a tensor so that it's easier for PyTorch to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these here, and all we can do is just make our data element. This is going to be the entire text data of the entire Wizard of Oz. So we could go ahead and make this data equals, and we're going to go torch.tensor, and then we're going to go encode. We're going to put the text inside of that. So we're going to go ahead and encode this text right here, and we're going to make sure that we have the right data type, which is a torch.long. Data type equals torch.long. So this basically means we're just going to have this as a super long sequence of integers. And yeah, let's go see what we can do with this torch.tensor element right here. So I've just written a little print statement where we can just print out the first 100 characters or 100 integers of this data. So it's pretty much the same thing in terms of working with arrays. It's just a different type of data structure in the context of PyTorch. Sort of easier to work with in that way. PyTorch just primarily revolved around tensors and modifying them, reshaping, changing dimensionality, multiplying, doing dot products, which, I mean, that sounds like a lot, but we're going to go over some of this stuff later in the course, just about how to do all this math. We're going to actually go over examples on, how to multiply this matrix by this matrix, even if they're not the same shape, and even dot producting, that kind of stuff. So next, what I'm going to talk about is something called validation and training splits. So why don't we just, use the entire text document and only train on that, the entire text corpus? Why don't we train on that? Well, the reason we actually split into training and validation sets, I'm going to show you right here. So we have this giant text corpus. It's a super long text file.
Hell yeah, 23 minutes. You go at 23 minutes of train and validation splits. Whoa. 50 minute हो गई. Setting up CUDA environment in Visual Studio, getting the text file for training data. We have taken an extra step. We have converted our my resume, in a TXT file as well, and dropped it inside the LLM project that we are trying to make. But we are not using it yet. We also have like a stock market sort of journal as the TXT. Let's see what we can do with that. Oh, fuckers. Time under tension. बैन चोद क्यों नहीं चल रहा चल क्यों नहीं रहा यार ये वाला ब्लॉक ये तो चल रहा है अबे नंबर डाला था
I'm going to show you right here. So sort of, and then we're going to go encode. We're going to put the text inside of that. So we're going to go ahead and encode this text right here.
नहीं चल रहा है बेटा करी तो है सब तो करा है डिफाइन. शायद भड़वे ने भी इतना अब चलेगा ना बेटा. Yeah bitch. भैंचो इसमें क्यों नहीं चल रहा है? ये क्या चूतिया भाई है? भैंचो मैट्रिक्स इसको कम कर लेते हैं हम. Hell yeah. अब एक गेट पे भी पुश कर देता हूँ यार. बट अभी बंद नहीं कर सकता है मैं सेशन. That's why.
And we're going to make sure that we have the right data type, which is a torch.long. Data type equals torch.long. So this basically means we're just going to have this as a super long sequence of integers. And yeah, let's go see what we can do with this torch.tensor element right here. So I've just written a little print statement where we can just print out the first 100 characters or 100 integers of this data. So it's pretty much the same thing in terms of working with arrays. It's just a different type of data structure in the context of PyTorch. Sort of easier to work with in that way. PyTorch just primarily revolved around tensors and modifying them, reshaping, changing dimensionality, multiplying, doing dot products, which, I mean, that sounds like a lot, but we're going to go over some of this stuff later in the course, just about how to do all this math. We're going to actually go over examples on, how to multiply this matrix by this matrix, even if they're not the same shape, and even dot producting, that kind of stuff. So next, what I'm going to talk about is something called validation and training splits. So why don't we just use the entire text document and only train on that, the entire text corpus? Why don't we train on that? Well, the reason we actually split into training and validation sets, I'm going to show you right here. So we have this giant text corpus. It's a super long text file. Think of it as a Well, the reason we actually split into training and validation sets, I'm going to show you right here. So we have this giant text corpus. It's a super long text file. Think of it as a, an essay, but a lot of pages. So this is our entire corpus, and we make our training set, 80% of it. So maybe this much, and then the other validation is this 20% right here, okay? So if we were to just train on the entire thing, after a certain number of iterations, it would just memorize the entire text piece, and it would be able to, simply write it out. It would have it in the entire thing memorized, and it wouldn't really get anything useful out of that. It would only know this document. But what the purpose of language modeling is to generate text that's like the training data, and this is exactly why we put it into splits. So if we run our training split right here, it's only going to know 80% of that entire corpus. And it's only going to generate on that 80% instead of the entire thing. And then we have our other 20%, which only knows 20% of the entire corpus. So the reason why we do this is to make sure that the on that 80%. So if we run our training split right here, it's only going to know 80% of that entire corpus. And it's only going to generate on that 80% instead of the entire thing. And then we have our other 20%, which only knows 20% of the entire corpus. So the reason why we do this is to make sure that the generations are unique and not an exact copy of the actual document. We're trying to generate text that's like the document. Like, for example, in Andrei Karpathy's lecture, he trains on Shakespearean text, an entire piece of Shakespeare. And the point is to generate Shakespearean-like text, but not exactly what it looked like, not that exact, 40,000 lines or like a few thousand lines of that entire corpus, right? We're trying to generate text that's like it. So that's the entire reason, or at least that's most of the reason why we use train and val splits. So you might be wondering, why is this even called the bigram language model? And I'm actually going to show you how that works right now. So if we go back to our whiteboard here, I've drawn a little sketch. So if we have this piece of content, the word hello, let's just say it. We don't have to encode it as any integers right now. We're just working with characters. Pretty much, we have 2, right? So bi means 2. The bi prefix means 2. So we're gonna have a bigram. So given maybe, there's nothing before an H in this content. So we just assume that's the start of content, and then that's going to point to an H. So H is the most likely to come after the start. And then maybe given an H, we're going to have an E. And then given an E, we're going to have an L. And then given an L, we're going to have another L, and then L leads to O, right? So maybe there's going to be some probabilities associated with these. So that's pretty much how it's. We just assume that's the start of content. We're going to have a bigram. So given maybe, there's nothing before an H in this content. So we just assume that's the start of content, and then that's going to point to an H. So H is the most likely to come after the start. And then maybe given an H, we're going to have an E. And then given an E, we're going to have an L. And then given an L, we're going to have another L. We're going to have an E. And then given an E, we're going to have an L. And then given an L, we're going to have another L. And then L leads to O, right? So maybe there's going to be some probabilities associated with these. So that's pretty much how it's going to predict right now. It's only going to consider the previous character to predict the next. So we have, given this one, we predict the next. So there's 2, which is why it's called bigram language model. So ignore my terrible writing here, but we're actually going to go into how we can train the bigram language model to do what we want, how we can actually implement this into a neural network, an artificial neural network, and train it. So we're going to get into something called block size, which is pretty much just taking a random snippet out of this entire text corpus here, just a small snippet, and we're going to make some predictions and we're going to make some targets out of that. So our block size is just a bunch of encoded characters or integers that we have predictions and targets. So let's say we take a small little size of maybe block size of 5, okay? So we have this tiny little tensor of 5 integers, and these are our predictions. So given some context right here, we're going to be predicting these. And then we have our targets, which would be offset by 1. So notice how here we have a 5, and then here the 5 is outside. And then this 35 is outside here, and now it's inside. So all we're doing is just taking that block from the predictions. In order to get the targets, we just offset that by 1. So we're going to be accessing the same indices. So at index 0, it's going to be 5. Index 0 is going to be 67, right? So 67 is following 5 in the bigram language model. So that's pretty much all we do. We just look at how much of a difference is that target away from, or how much far is the prediction away from the target. And then we can optimize for reducing that error. So the most basic Python implementation of this in the character level tokenizers, or the character level tokens rather, would be just simply this right here. So we would take a little snippet random. It would be pretty much just from the start, or some whatever, just some snippet all the way from the start of the snippet up to block size, so 5. Ignore my terrible writing again. And then this one would just be, it would just be 1 up to block size, or 5, plus 1. So it'd be up to 6, right? And that's pretty much all we do. This is exactly what it's going to look like in the code. So I've written some code here that does exactly what we just talked about in Python. So I've defined this block size equal to 8, just so you can kind of see about exactly what it's going to look like in the code. 6, right?
Claude or GPT time. Let's see. Okay. ये तो पता है.
And that's pretty much all we do. This is +1, so we'll be up to 6, right? And that's pretty much all we do. This is exactly what it's going to look like in the code. So I've written some code here that does exactly what we just talked about in Python. So I've defined this block size equal to 8, just so you can kind of see what this looks like on a larger scale, a little bit larger. And just what we wrote right there in the Jupyter notebook, this position 0 up to block size, and then offset by 1, so we make it position 1 up to block size +1. Little offset there. We pretty much just wrote that in here, X as our predictions and Y as our targets, and then just a little for loop to show what the prediction and what the targets are. So this is what this looks like in Python. Great, we can do predictions, but this isn't really scalable yet. This is sequential, right? Sequential is another way of describing what the CPU does. Sequential, right? Sequential is another way of describing what the CPU does.
What's up guys, it's Nate Bauer from Nate Bauer Fitness. I'm here with my boy Zach, and we'll show you how to essentially advance simple combos into nice smooth punching combinations. Okay, so what we're going to show you is there's 4 parts to this combo, how to work from up top. We're going to add in a slip and then work into the body shot, okay? So the first one, very simple. Number 1, make sure you always have range from your guys so that you're not bunched, all right? And then we'll take it from there. So the first one's an easy 1-2. Okay, so again, get 6 or 8 combos in. Make sure their technique is good. And then from there, we go with a hook, a 1-2-3. And then after that, what makes most sense is to add the slip in, slipping my right hand. So what happens is, as he throws the hook, I'm going to counter with the right hand, but he's going to slip that. So we'll show you in slow motion. 1, 2, 3. He's going to slip to his left, all right? And then just come, as soon as this hand pack comes back, he resets. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, he's going to slip left, I'm throwing the right hand. Slip, back. Slip, back. Now, key points about that also is depending on the person you're boxing with. Zach's obviously experienced. I'm throwing this right out his forehead. I'm not going to go veer around the side. If you're working with a client that's not exactly versed in or new, then yeah, go to the side a little bit. Give them lots of time to move to the side. But also make sure they're watching your shoulder when you're throwing the right hand so they know when that punch is coming. Your shoulder will go first. Okay? Your shoulder will go first when they're slipping that right hand. So from there, we're going to take it down a level to the body shot. I hold the pad here for him to cut like a knife straight through my body into the hand pad. So I'll show you nice and slow. Body shot, all right? Okay, just a nice quick body shot.
This could be a hack. Aim for the underarm. Boom. Boom. हाँ गॉड को देखने का
What's up guys, it's Nate Bauer from Nate Bauer Fitness. I'm here with my boy Zach, and we'll show you how to essential combinations. Through to the body from your guys. Okay, so again, get 6 or 8 combos in, make sure their technique is good. And then from there, we go with a hook on 1, 2, 3.
Boring.
This is what the prediction and what the targets are. So
Oh, we are at 30 minutes. 5 hours 43 minutes was the 30 minutes. Which is what? We need to get till like 5:53 minutes to complete 10% of the course. 10%.
this is what this looks like in Python. Great, we can do predictions, but this isn't really scalable yet. This is sequential, right? Sequential is another way of describing what the CPU does. CPU can do a lot of complex operations very quickly, but it only happens sequentially. It's this one, and then this task, and this task, and this task, right? But with GPUs, you can do a little bit more simpler tasks, but very, very quickly or in parallel. So we can do a bunch of very small or not computationally complex computation in a bunch of different little processors that aren't as good, but there's tons of them. So pretty much what we can do is we can take each of these little blocks and then we can stack them and push these to the GPU to scale our training a lot. So I'm going to illustrate that for you right now. So let's just say we have a block, okay? Block looks like, I'm going to illustrate you to
Oh fuck. क्या कर रहा हूँ मैं? चलो भाई जा रहा हूँ क्या अभी we get to?
Uh,
Yes.
So pretty much what we can do is we can take each of these little blocks and then we can stack them and push these to the GPU to scale our training a lot. So I'm going to illustrate that for you right now. So let's just say we have a block, okay? Block looks like this, and we have some integers in between here, okay? So this is a block, okay? Now, if we want to make multiple of these, we're just going to stack them. So we're going to make another one, another one, another one. So let's say we have 4 batches, okay? Or sorry, 4 blocks. So we have 4 different blocks that are just stacked on top of each other. And we can represent this as a new hyperparameter called batch size. This is going to tell us how many of these sequences can we actually process in parallel. So the block size is the length of each sequence, and the batch size is how many of these are we actually doing at the same time. So this is a really good way to scale language models, and without these, you can't really expect any fast training or good performance at all. So we just went over how we can actually get batches, or rather how we can use batches to accelerate the training process. And it just takes one line to do this actually. So all we have to do is call this little function here saying if torch.cuda is available. We'll just check if the GPU is available based on your CUDA installation. And if it's available, like it says, if it's available, we'll set the device to CUDA, else CPU. So we're going to go and print out the device here. So that's going to run, and we get CUDA. If it's available.
Okay, okay. कहाँ है यार? इस लौड़े ने भी वही करा है। हाँ क्या यार, अच्छा है भाई। लंडन CPU इसको GPU पे कैसे करें? Fusing device. यहाँ अटक गए ना भाई, क्यों नहीं आ रही यार? अच्छा हमारी कोरा डिवाइस की नहीं आ रही।
Available, we'll set the device to CUDA, else CPU. So we're going to go and print out the device here. So that's going to run, and we get CUDA. So that means we can use the GPU for a lot of our processing here. And while we're here, I'm actually going to move up this hyperparameter, block size, up to the top. Block size, and then we're going to use batch size, which is how many blocks we're doing in parallel. And we're just going to make this 4 for now. So these are our two hyperparameters that are very, very important for training. And you'll see that why these become much more important later when we scale up the data and use more complex.
Bro, I need to do this on my own. Shit. Mm. fuck. Okay, so basically we need to figure out a new algorithm to train, because even to train amount like 100 gigabytes of data, you can use 2 to 4 gigs of RAM, like memory, because the algorithm which you'll be using to divide this data in chunks, and using the sequence of whatever the algorithm that you'll make will change the computation cost as well. So basically, if I develop like a badass algorithm, bro. It's 1 hour 51 minutes, bro. Improving mentally, physically, emotionally. Well, not emotionally.
Complex mechanisms
to train and learn the patterns of the language based on the text that we give it. So if it doesn't work right away, if the new Jupyter Notebook doesn't work right away, I'd recommend just train and learn the patterns of the language based on the mechanisms to train and.
Okay, so we have completed one file. Okay.
And learn the patterns of the language based on the text that we give it. So if it doesn't work right away, if the new Jupyter Notebook doesn't work right away, I'd recommend just hitting Control C to cancel this. Hit it a few times.
Even if I don't use Jupyter Notebook, I think it should be fine, right? Okay, let's try. Control C. Yes. No. Yes. Okay. Come to Daddy Adesanya. Oh yeah, leave it.
This might not work the first. It'll shut down and you just go up, Jupyter Notebook again, and then enter. And then after this is done, you should be able to just restart that and it will work, hopefully. There we go. You should be able to again and then enter. And then after this is done,
इसको दिक्कत आ ही रही थी. What happened? What? Why, dude? Why? जेसॉन की बकचोदी क्या कर रहे हैं यार ये? Fuck, Claude. Fuck you. Oh, okay. I remember now.
you up Jupyter Notebook again.
Don't know, maybe. Okay. Come on, Des. Okay, okay. Let's get it, boy.
And then enter. And then after this is done, you should be able to just restart that and it will work, hopefully. There we go. So I can go ahead and restart and clear output. And we can run that. See, we get Boo. So awesome. Now, let's try to do some actual cool PyTorch stuff. So we're going to go ahead and import Torch here. And then let's go ahead and try this randint feature. So we can go randint, we'll do equals torch.randint. And then let's say we go minus.
Hold up. There's no way we did 40. Yep. 34. Random. Okay.
100 to 100, and then in brackets we go 6, just like that. So if we want to print this out here, or we could just go randint like that. We could run this block first. Good. And boom. So we get a tensor type, and all of these numbers are, we have 6 of them, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they're between -100 and 100. So we're gonna have to keep this in mind right here when we're getting our random batches from this giant text corpus. So let's try out a new one. Let's just try, we can make tensors. We've done this before. So we could do tensor equals torch.tensor, and we could go 0.1, 1.2. Here, I'll just copy and paste one right here. So we do this, boom. And we could just do tensor, and we'll get exactly this. So boom, we get a 3x2 matrix. Now, we're gonna try a different one called zeros. So zeros is just torch.zeros. And then inside of here, we could just do the dimensions or the shape of this. So 2x3, and then we could just do zeros, and then go ahead and run that. So we get a 2x3 of zeros. And these are all floating point numbers, by the way. Maybe we could try ones now. I know ones is a pretty fun one. So we go torch.ones. It's pretty much the same as zeros. We could just do like maybe 3x4. And then print that ones out. So we have a 3x4 of ones. Sweet. So what if we do input equals torch.empty. We can make this 2x3. Input. So these are interesting. These are pretty much a bunch of either very large or very small numbers. Haven't particularly found a use case for this yet, but just another feature that PyTorch has. We have a range, so we go arrange equals torch.arrange, and we could do like 5, for example. And then we'll just do range. So now we have a tensor just sorted.
Samantha. I might need coffee today. Ooh. Let's see if this works. Okay. दो लग गए क्या बेंचो? What the fuck? तो टेंसर का यूज़ कर रहा हूँ ना इसलिए मैं What? Got it. Got it. How about now? Debugger. Shazam debugger. Fourth May, okay. Thinking break. Let's do a thinking break. Girl office. बहुत slow कौन चल रहा है? 10% भी नहीं हुआ है अभी तो. वीकेंड्स पे मेरे को बहुत ज़्यादा पुश करना पड़ेगा. 10% भी नहीं हुआ आज कोर्स.
Fight game.
So what happened to Ben Stokes, dude? Ben Stokes को क्या हो गया? Fuck this shit. मैं क्या करूँ Ben Stokes की माँ चुद रही हो तो Too real. Let's roll back to fucking grinding.
0, or rather starting at 0 up to 4, so 5, just like that. You
Huh? Huh? ये क्यों आ रहा है यार? इसका इतना बड़ा क्यों आ रहा है?
line space.
मेरा ये क्यों नहीं आ रहा है? सही तो है। सही तो है, ये तो सही है, ये भी सही है, ये डॉट एम्प्टी टू, ये क्या दिक्कत है यार? टू रो 3 कॉलम मैट्रिक्स बदलने
Equals torch dot
input torch dot empty 2.3. ये तो सही है सही है अपना
line.
arrange equals to torches.
Line space. The spelling is weird. Do 3, 10, and then steps, for example, equals 5. This all makes sense in a second here. We go run, and we get a line space. So steps equals 5. So we have 5 different ones. Boom, 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 boom. And we go all the way from 3 to 10. So we're pretty much getting all of the constant increments from 3 all the way up to 10 over 5 steps. So you're basically adding the same amount every time. So 3 plus 1.75 is 4.75, and then plus another 1.75 is 6.5, and then 8.25, and then 10, right? So just over 5 steps.
So this is basically a matrix 3, 10 steps.
We want to find what that constant increment is. So that's a pretty cool one. And then we'll do log space, which is interesting. Log space equals torch.log space. And then we'll go start. Start equals -10. End equals 10. These are both start and end, so you can either put these here, you can either put the start with them, start equals, or you don't have to. It's honestly up to you. And then we can put our steps again. So steps equals maybe 5. Let's go and run that. Or oops. To put log space there.
Okay, we are running.
So we get that. So we start at 1 to the -10, and then we just do this in little increments here. So it goes 10, -5, 0, plus 5, 10, just over 5 steps. So that's pretty cool. What else do we have here? So we have I, torch.I. I just have all these on my second screen here. So a bunch of examples just written out, and we're just kind of visualizing what these can do, and maybe you might even what else do 1 to the -10. It's honestly up to you. And then we can put our steps again. So steps equals maybe 5. Let's go and run that. Or oops, need to put log space there. So we get that. So we start at 1 to the -10, and then we just do this in little increments here. So it goes 10, -5, 0, plus 5, 10, just over 5 steps. So that's pretty cool. What else do we have here? So we have I, torch.I. I just have all these on my second screen here. So a bunch of examples just written out, and we're just kind of visualizing what these can do, and maybe you might even have your own creative little sparks of thought that you're gonna maybe find something else that you can use these for your own personal projects or whatever you want to do. So we're just kind of experimenting with these, what we can do with the basics of PyTorch and just some of the very basic functions. So torch.I, we go print this I out here. So we get pretty much just a diagonal line and it's in 5. So you get a 5 by 5 matrix, and yeah, pretty much just reduced row each long.
Okay. So basically, we are going over torch examples right now of how in 5 steps. 10 to the power minus 10, 10 to the power minus 5, 10 to the power 0, 10 to the power 5, 10 to the power. Logarithmic between the value space from logarithmically. Okay. That is actually smart. This is just a 2 by 3 2 cross 3 matrix initialization using torch. What is this then? What does this mean? Or rather, I had to nap hand. Steps. क्या मेल आया जा रहा है यार? Five steps is basically was 42 minutes. We are still at fucking 40 minutes. What the fuck? We made it till 40 now. We started yesterday and we made it till 40. Not quite 10% yet. had something to eat. First, shit, it's already 1. Multigrain.
Chops. Down, pierces. Bombs.
He can sense the bell. He can feel the title.
In the menacing Muay Thai lands teeming with dark-skinned tyrants, Jonathan Haggerty is the odd one out. Fighting in the world's premier striking promotion.
It looks like has the edge in speed.
This audacious Farang demolishes Thailand's best talent. And keeps collecting championship belts.
Goes forward.
As the general plans to transition to MMA, let's recall the British colonizers' triumphant campaign across the merciless Thai boxing rings. A son of an MMA fighter, John grew up in London. He was introduced to combat sports at the age of 7, made his choice in favor of Muay Thai, and already turned pro at 16 years old. Although very young, the teenager would take out seasoned grown men.
I had to lie about my age to fight a man. Yeah, I just started knocking people out, mate, really, honestly. And that was it. I just knew from then that's what I wanted to do.
Dubbed General for his tactical approach, Haggerty conducted reconnaissance in every battle with long-range kicks.
On the outside, just circling.
Sometimes that was all it took.
Beautiful, wow!
Against stubborn opposition, he would put his hands to use.
Full
setting up the assaults with front kicks.
Championship belts in Thailand and has a world amateur title.
Once the defensive lines were weakened,
John Haggerty's, oh man.
The sharp elbows came into play.
James Pavetta, he's hurt him. That right elbow of Haggerty's coming in again. Big hands, oh my gosh. A left hook landed.
With their skulls cracked, the adversaries had no choice but to admit defeat.
Right elbow, left elbow, right elbow, right elbow. Oh my gosh. It's okay, the fight goes on.
The Englishman also often relied on blitzkrieg, breaking through the enemy's guard in the opening seconds.
Don't blink, ladies and gentlemen, especially if you're watching home. And as I say that, it's an onslaught from Haggerty from the off. Wow.
In early 2018, John signed with the prestigious Muay Thai league Yakao, where he was matched up against two-time world champion and Britain's #1 ranked Thai boxer, Keith McLaughlin. The Scotsman could shut the lights out with one touch. Break ribs with vicious knees, and catch you with a spin out of nowhere. In the clash of experience and youth, Haggerty immediately launched a missile, added some smelly teeps,
Jumping teep to the face.
tried a tomahawk elbow, varied his targeting, and kicked off a feint shuffle. The veteran waited for the youngster to make a mistake,
Jumping knee.
but got caught slipping instead,
Beautiful high kick by McLaughlin.
stopping the opponent's attack in its tracks with a lead leg kick. The general sent McLaughlin straight to the hospital.
Haggerty again throws another high kick.
He was #1 for 10 years. Again, nobody believed in me. I got in there and I stopped him in round 2. And I think that's when everyone started to believe, like, this guy's the real deal.
Establishing himself in his homeland, the 21-year-old Haggerty set out to conquer new territories, signing with the Asian market hegemon One Championship. Unlike most promotions, it featured many disciplines, including MMA, kickboxing, and Muay Thai.
Elbows and knees.
Joining the 135-pound roster, in his debut, Jonathan faced former world champion Joseph Lassiri. The Italian stored tranquilizers in his gloves, collected chins, and sent people into other dimensions live on air.
Lassiri does like to prefer that style. He drops Asahara Shinagawa here in the first round. Shinagawa may not get up.
That's a wrap.
Muay Thai.
While feeling out the distance,
A beautiful kick to open up there from Haggerty. Been told that
Haggerty smoothly switched stances, honing his blades,
that forward front kick goes to the jaw. Downward elbow.
and gradually investing into kicks.
Side, and Lassiri quickly gets out of dodge.
Lassiri suddenly showed his teeth in the clinch.
Planting elbow from the Italian backside.
That's when the general impaled him on his elbow.
With that knee. Oh, jab to
And threw a follow-up hatchet,
downward elbow, downward elbow, downward elbow.
setting up his attack with a knee feint. The Briton nailed him with a tomahawk elbow, which would later become his signature move. Recovering during the break, Lassiri opened the second frame with a flying knee.
Kick to the midsection from Haggerty. Jumping knee.
Got accustomed to the slicing lunges,
Just gets out of the way of the left roundhouse kick.
and even started countering them.
The Italian catches the
Down, go to those techniques, find that space with those elbows, and he's coming.
John had turned to his boxing
Good job deflecting that body shot, keeping those hands over there.
and got the kicks going,
now over his chest. Haggerty fires a whipping left roundhouse kick.
but didn't forget to use the elbows.
Lassiri here, tested warrior. The way he took on
The Italian didn't crumble,
Tries to thread the overhand right.
pinned the debutante against the cage,
Top of the hand. Lassiri's got him against the cage. And he capitalized. Lassiri now overhand.
and finished the stretch on his terms.
Clinch now. Here's Mark
lands much better round.
Feeling the initiative slip away, Haggerty became more defensively responsible in the third.
Crossing elbow from Haggerty.
Getting tagged sometimes,
We have seen that. Oh, elbow from Lasseri into the
but returning everything with interest.
This has been something special. Elbow, and once more from Haggerty.
Lasseri is still there, taking these shots like a zombie, just marching forward.
And peppering kicks with his left leg until time expired.
Doubles up on it. Is he going to go?
If he doesn't see continuous action inside the clinch, he will stop it. It's 5 seconds. That left kick just hammering home.
The judges declared him the rightful winner, and the organization rewarded the general with a title fight. The champion was Sam A., a proven warrior with 30 years of experience. Whose resume included over 350 victories. The Thai warrior carried a firearm into the cage, was revered for his lethal counterpunching,
the pivot, the move, come on!
And separated dozens of souls from their bodies.
He wasn't far off, but
Straight left!
Oh,
The Brit utilized his bayonet legs.
Long form. I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's pretty much what it looks like. So, pretty cool stuff. Let's see what else we have. We have empty like. We have empty like, torch.empty like, A. And then we'll just say, maybe make A equal to, we'll make it A torch.empty. And then we can go 2 by 3, and then data type torch.int64. So 64-bit integers. And then let's see what happens here. Empty. Boom. So.
घर जाके लंच बनाना पड़ेगा यार कल का सही तो लिखा है Got it.
That's pretty cool. What else do we have? Yes, we can do timing as well. So I'm just going to erase all of these.
Huh? Huh? Okay. Whoa.
These, you can, I mean, you can scroll back in the video, just look and maybe experiment with these a little bit, try a little bit more than just, you know, what I've done with them, maybe modify them a little bit. But yeah, I'm actually going to delete all of these here. So we just do, and then we can go ahead and do the device equals CUDA, and we're going to go ahead and switch this over to the CUDA GPT environment. So CUDA if torch.CUDA underscore is .CUDA is available, and then else go CPU, print out our device here, go ahead and run this. CUDA. Sweet. So we're going to try to do stuff with the GPU now compared to the CPU and really see how much of a difference CUDA or the GPU is going to make in comparison to the CPU when we change the shape and dimensionality, and we're just doing different experiments with a bunch of different tensors. So in order to actually measure the difference between the GPU and the CPU, I just imported a library called time. So this comes with the operating system, or sorry, with Python. You don't have to actually install this manually. So basically what we do is whenever we call time.time and then parentheses, it will just take the current time.
I'm gonna compare CPU versus GPU now. it is 128. Not as productive as expected, but not as bad. Half as bad. 132, 129. My bad. Should I go through the rest of it? Secrets that are hard in my heart are harder to. Baby, I just wanna. Okay, bros. I think I'll have to leave. minutes.
Time snippet right now. So start time will be like right now, and then end time maybe 3 seconds later will be, you know, right now plus 3 seconds. So if we subtract end time, start time, we'll get a 3-second difference, and that would be the total elapsed time. And then this little number here, this 4, will be just how many decimal places we have. So I can go ahead and run this here. Time is not defined. Let's run that first. Boom. It's going to take, you know, almost no time at all, so we can actually increase.
चोद okay. So this is probably the just make notes. Howdy, 1, 2, where are you? 43 minutes.
A little bit slower because Muay Thai.
The champion aimed for the body, seeking to slow down the breath.
Be different.
How do you do that? You break the mold, guys. You get the out of bed when it's cold, when it's early. You do something away from the normality of what you've been doing.
Vacuum cleaner, breathing in your dust. I wanna be your Ford Cortina, I will never rush. If you like your coffee hot, let me be your coffee pot. You call the shots, babe, I just wanna be yours. Secrets I have held in my heart are harder to hide than I thought. Maybe I just wanna be yours. I wanna be yours. I wanna be yours. Wanna be yours. Wanna be yours. Wanna be yours. Let me be your lucky meter, and I'll never run out. Let me be the portable heater that y'all get cold without. I wanna be your setting lotion, hold your hair in deep devotion, at least as deep as the Pacific Ocean. I wanna be yours. Oh, secrets I have held in my heart are harder to hide than I thought. Maybe I just wanna be yours. I wanna be yours. I wanna be yours. Wanna be yours. Wanna be yours. Wanna be yours. I wanna be yours. Wanna be yours. Wanna be yours. Wanna be yours. Let me be your vacuum cleaner, or breathing in your dust. I wanna be your Ford Cortina, I will never rust. I just wanna be yours. I just wanna be yours. Oh, I just wanna be yours. Yeah. Oh.
dance, I'll dance. And if you don't, I'll dance anyway. Give peace a chance. Let the fear you have fall away. I've got my eye on you. I've got my eye on you. Say yes to heaven. Say yes to me. Say yes to heaven. Say yes to me. If you go, I'll stay. You come back, I'll be right here. Like a barge at sea. In the storm I stay clear, 'cause I've got my mind on you. I've got my mind on you. Say yes to heaven. Say yes to me. Say yes to heaven. Say yes to me. If you dance, I'll dance. I'll put my red dress on, get it on. And if you fight, I'll fight. It doesn't matter now, it's all gone. I've got my mind on you. I've got my mind on you. Say yes to heaven. Say yes to me.
Not because of that fucker, Naruto, I don't like
知らぬ者同士で互いに意味なく殺し合う戦争だから
戦争。命に意味はない。
あんたもそう思うのか。
わかんね
生きて帰ってこい。お前にまで死なれたら。泣いてくれるのか。嬉しいの。
地雷や豪傑物語の結びだとはのくだらぬ物語だった。
なんで俺にそこまでこだわる。
私は大好き。
ずっと愛している。
それはかつて聞いた。お前にとってのそれ。
俺を見て。お前は俺を兄弟という。だが 里のためにどちらを切れ。里のために友を殺した。たとえそれが友であろうと兄弟であろうと我が子であろうと、運命という名の偶然の産物だ。我々には予想がつかない。
直してください。直してください。直して。
何者も知らぬまま。
頑張ったじゃない。
こんな争いがいつまで続くんですか。絶対間違ってた。
じゃあ何なんだよ。
今も見る知らぬ者を恐れ憎しむ愚かしきこと。
もうやめてよ。
悲しみも恐れも憤りもさらけ出し
ふざけんな。俺の師匠を、俺の先生を、俺の仲間を、俺の里を、お前をぶっ倒して、俺がこの忍びの世界を。
見てみろ。公的な意志が戦争を愛を守るために憎しみが
そちら側の誰かがまた俺たちと同じことをするようにな。
忍びの時代は終わる。
どうした。
I'm able to train it on my Mac, I'll use the CPU computational power. So, I mean, that is all for today. Let's stop streaming.